Greetings, Benjamin J from Ben's Trains with another in the series. Well, a follow-up on that flat car that I made out of the paint stirrers yesterday. I added 2 couplers to it, and it is running actually quite well. And as you can see, this locomotive can run really slow on this oval track. So I used a hacksaw blade, of course, to make the couplers out of. So it has a new coupler on the front. It has an original coupler on the back. The coupler on the rear of the caboose was so loose it was actually dragging on the rail and shorting it out. And it was held in place with a cotter pin. So I just pulled the cotter pin out and then transferred that original coupler to the rear of that flat car. The front coupler, of course, is made from a hacksaw blade. And this is actually running really well. So I will very likely stain this to darken it up a bit, varnish it, and add the screws to it, and I have a completed standard gauge car. And as you see, it doesn't look bad at all. And also, this locomotive is running just absolutely perfectly, even at this really low setting. You can see it's keeping a constant speed all the way around this oval. No problem with this locomotive at all, running really well. Now, I had a problem with the track. That section, right where the caboose just went over, was constantly coming unplugged. So I used a couple of wire ties to tie the track together in that spot. It's really hard to lean over and continually have to press this back together. So that section right there was always coming open. And you can see that I just added 2 wire ties just to lock it shut. So that's absolutely solid now. And that solved that problem. And going to continue to run this for another day or so just to see how it goes. But as you can see, this locomotive is running really well. That Marx motor, no problems with it at all. You can see how slow you can run this. It's maintaining a constant speed all the way around the rail. That new car gave me 4 standard gauge cars I can run on this. So I'm quite pleased with it. It was easy, it was simple, it was really inexpensive, almost free in fact. $6 to buy the trucks and a couple of paint stirrers glued together. And total, I don't know, probably less than an hour to build that. But as you see, it doesn't look bad at all. And this locomotive is running just absolutely perfectly, even pulling these 4 cars. So we can speed this up. As you see. And this old locomotive and this old electric train is running just absolutely splendidly. So I will stain and varnish very likely that flat car. Put the screws in it probably tomorrow or the next day, and it will be complete. So a new standard gauge car that costs a grand total of $6. $3 a piece for those trucks. Made the front coupler out of the hacksaw blade, and the rear coupler is actually the coupler off the rear of that caboose. So anyway, I just want to do a follow-up video. This is running really well. It looks nice. That flat car was easy to make. It only took a couple minutes to do it. You can do this with O-gauge as well. Just use 2 of them. And as you see, that really doesn't look bad. And it was a really simple way to make an additional standard gauge car for this concept. Looks nice, runs well, and was absolutely dirt cheap. $6 to build that. And a few minutes of my time. Like I said, most of the time was basically waiting for that glue to dry. And I just used plain old Elmer's white glue for this. And it dries in about an hour or so. Then I drew a line, cut it off with a hacksaw. So a bit of judicious sanding, some stain and some varnish, and that's going to look like a genuine standard gauge flat car. So it runs nice, it looks nice, and it was really inexpensive to do it. And it was a lot of fun. So anyway, it has its coupler installed. It runs good, it looks nice, it was really inexpensive, really difficult to beat that. So we crank this back down a bit. And this old locomotive is running just absolutely splendidly, no matter what speed you run it at. Now, as you see, it maintains the constant speed all the way around this rail. Excuse me. And I never did derust it. Basically just scraped the rails. The pins were actually quite clean. So I scraped the rails with a single edge razor blade, plugged it together, and of course the more it ran, the better it ran, because the wheels and the center contactor were continuing to remove the oxide from the rails themselves. But as you can see, it's maintaining a constant speed all the way around, even at this low setting. So, no problems at all with that new flat car. It looks nice, it was easy to make, it was inexpensive, and it was fun. So just a quick follow-up on this. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.